We're in the final stretch of the lacrosse regular season, and there may not be a more nailed-on contender for the national title than North Carolina. The Tar Heels sit at number 2 in the rankings and have lost just once all season. On a 4-game winning streak, they lead the country in RPI as well. But the team that's sitting right behind them is none other than Syracuse. The Orange have played 6 games in March and have won 6. 5 of those were against top 25 opponents. Today, the top 2 teams in the ACC go head-to-head in what might be a precursor to Memorial Day weekend. We're live on Cuse Countdown, and it starts right now. Hey everyone, happy Saturday, happy Easter as well. Welcome to Cuse Countdown live from our CitrusTV studios. Nicholas Waley alongside Chadwick and Timmy Weiss to get you ready for Syracuse and UNC, a top 3 battle in men's lacrosse. The whole country will be watching this game. Well, let's start with Syracuse though, because this is a team that we were ranked number 10 just a month ago. Yeah. And now, Ben, after that game against Duke, they're looking pretty good in the top 3.
They absolutely are. And what a game against Duke, right, Timmy? I mean, I think that was the most eventful game all season for Syracuse up until this point. You had the offenses firing on all cylinders. 10 goals in the first quarter, 19 at halftime. It seems like neither defense could do anything to stop either offense. And they weren't just any goals, right? I felt like I was watching the lacrosse version of the Harlem Globetrotters out there. You had Billy Dwan for Syracuse with Duke defenders draped on his back and still getting pole goals. Then you had Peyton Anderson with one-handed tosses over to his teammates for assists, behind-the-back goals galore. I mean, it was just so fun to watch last week in the Dome.
And it really was a lot of close plays, right? The game stayed close throughout the entirety of it, and that's what made it so fun that other day against Duke. Syracuse trailed at halftime in that game 10-9, but it didn't matter. The Orange came to play at the right time.
And certainly for Syracuse against Duke, you know, Timmy, these are 2 teams that have gone head-to-head so many times in recent years, and Duke has gotten the better of Cuse. This time, though, the Orange held on.
Yes, they certainly did, and it was really guys showing out, like Peyton Anderson and Luke Roa. 2 guys that you don't always see getting on the score sheet always for this team. Both had hat tricks. Spallina was also killing it. 6 points. The offense was fantastic.
Well, guys, I want to go a little bit more into this because this was a game that Syracuse, like you mentioned, were behind at halftime, had to claw their way back. Ben, I want to start with you. What was your moment of the game between the Blue Devils and the Orange?
Well, I mean, Nick, you can go through all the highlights, the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter. I mentioned there's so many different plays you could choose from, but there's only really one thing that mattered the most in the game, and that was that final game sequence that happened between these 2 teams. I mean, it was pure madness, the final 45 seconds of that one. I want to take a look at it right here, too, because I can't get over just how incredible it was over and over and over. Look, you had John Mullen getting the faceoff win, sort of a no-look pass to his teammate. Now Tyler McCarthy has the ball. He loses it. There's 40 seconds left. Duke has the ball. They get it in the Syracuse defensive area. They call a timeout. The sideline is loving it. They are hyped up over there. Now they got it. Let's try and get that goal. Uh-oh, what happened there? Whistles blow. A moving screen called against the Blue Devils. Syracuse gets ball. Billy Dwan just shoots it all the way across the field. It hits the top of the scoreboard, bottom of the scoreboard, I should say. Pure madness. A very, very controversial penalty call that essentially gave Syracuse the win, Timmy.
Yeah, Duke was pretty upset about that call at the end, which
rightfully so.
Made that very controversial, but Syracuse certainly happy to escape with the win. It was near disaster. But I want to take a look at a different play in that game. It actually came earlier on in the second quarter, and even though that play may have decided the game, this play early on, McCool gets it up to Kittleberger, the freshman, rushes in, gets it to Spallina, who fires it into the back of the net. You see it starting all the way from the back. And what's impressive is the Syracuse offense, when it's working in transition like that, that's when this offense is at its best. And I'm telling you, I was there in the Dome. The crowd after that goal, the crowd pop was unbelievable. It was one of the loudest I've ever heard the Dome after a goal was scored.
And the thing is, that crowd pop, I think, is a reason why Syracuse have been so dominant at home and why they were so dominant in March. 6 games played, 6 wins, 5 of those against top 25 opponents. Ben, this is a team that certainly just continues to improve week after week.
They continue to win week after week, Nick. That's the interesting part, is because that very first game that started this whole win streak was a 9-8 overtime thriller against number 19 Penn, right? It was a pretty rocky start, but then, yeah, they started rattling off some wins. They beat Georgetown, they beat Johns Hopkins on the road. Most of these games being on the road as well in March. You go out to Colorado and you play Air Force and you play Denver. But the thing is, they were barely scraping by in many of these games. You see the Denver game right here. Look, Syracuse was winning games, Timmy, don't get me wrong, but not convincingly. But regardless, look, 6-0 in the month of March is an incredible feat in and of itself. I do not want to take away from that. It's just a matter of, could they have done it more convincingly?
3 one-goal games for this team during March, right? So it was a lot of close games. But honestly, for me, Ben, that proves a lot that this team can escape in these close games. It's not very easy to go and win by 1 against Denver, win by 1 against Penn in a game that, hey, we're down a couple goals in the fourth quarter, come back. And then Duke as well, just recently, 1-goal win. It matters that you can win these close games.
Look, and one of the most convincing wins on there is at Air Force in Colorado Springs.
And Air Force, you know, not as good of a team as the other teams, all the rest of them ranked.
But they were leading 6-5 at halftime. The same halftime score they had against Denver as well. Of course, they pulled away in the end, but still not convincing whatsoever for the Orange in March, but a very good run for them.
Great win streak in March is undoubtedly because of the offense, and particularly this three-headed monster of Joey Spallina, Michael Leo, and Finn Thompson, because Timmy, this guy's been pretty good.
That's right. Finn Thompson has been a stud for Syracuse this season, and he's done it all throughout the season with 24 goals. But let's take a look at some of the recent games where he's really stood out. Against Duke recently, last time out, he finds it in the scoring area and a behind-the-back shot. That's pretty right there. Anderson drives down, finds Spallina, but what Thompson does a good job of is recognizing when the behind-the-back shot is there, and he knows that the space was behind him to do it. Now against Georgetown, the game before, on the run, finds the top corner. That's what Thompson can do. He brings a variety of scoring with creativity. And on the run to find that shot is absolutely outrageous. Thompson has 3 hat tricks in his last 4 games, and you can see all season long, 24 goals, 8 assists. He might not get as many assists as the other guys, but that doesn't matter because there's so many guys on this Orange offense that are fantastic. So let's send it over to Ben to tell you a little more.
Yeah, well, Timmy, the guy I want to talk about is Michael Leo right here. He has been dominant from one spot on the field all year long. Not a single defense in the country can stop him, especially when he's hot. And I want to take a look at a few of those plays right now because he has been so impressive. The right wing is where I'm talking about. Leo's right there. This time he drives in and gets the game-winning goal against Penn. This Air Force game, this is the 3rd straight right wing goal he had in this game on his career-high 5-goal day. And in the most recent game against Duke, Michael Leo from the right wing, his 1 goal of the day is in that exact spot. When he is in that spot and hitting those step-down shots or even sometimes the sidewinders, he is unstoppable. It is the kryptonite of defenses every time he is feeling himself against those D1 opponents. 21 goals is on pace for a new career high on the season. 15 assists is second most on the team and already a new career high on the season. He's a senior. He's been getting better and better as time goes on, and you just cannot imagine what he's going to look like throughout ACC play, an ACC tournament, maybe even beyond that. But I understand. We have one guy we have yet to mention, and I think that's for good reason. Nick?
Yeah, Ben, it's weird, right? Because ever since Joey Spallina stepped foot on campus in 2022 as the #1 recruit and part of the best recruiting class ever, we've been talking about him. But this year it's a little bit different, not just because he has a pair of really good players alongside him. He's been really embracing that facilitator role more than ever before. Take a look at his play against Duke because, once again, Spallina connected with Thompson. We've seen that story many times this year. Their chemistry is always on point. But look at Joey here. He's taking his time. He's surveying the field. Of course, Finn Thompson is going to score that. But Joey needs to pick that spot perfectly, and he's just been overall more efficient this year and has been the best playmaker in college lacrosse. That's why he has 32 assists on the season, 23 goals to boot as well, and that meant he joined the 300-point club against Duke. And Ben and Timmy have more on his race to 307 and Mikey Powell's record.
Yeah, Nick, the race is absolutely on for Joey Spallina. Just 6 goals, 6 points away, I should say, Timmy, from tying that record, 7 away from etching himself into Syracuse history. Now, it's going to be a very, very tough road. It's been a tough road for him in the past, but he's going to get it.
And the road is in reach.
Absolutely.
Very in reach. He could get it next game.
Will it be today? I mean, will it be today, right? Could it be the next game?
Be.
That's only for us to find out. But before we get to him actually getting the record in present day, let's take a blast of the past. Let's see how he got here. Let's check out his freshman season first. I want to see where it all began, because Joey Spallina was one of the highest ranked recruits in Syracuse history. And in this freshman season, 68 points. That is the 3rd most by a freshman in Syracuse history. He was ACC Freshman of the Year as well. He had an 11-point game against Princeton as a freshman. That tied a program record at the time. 36 goals, 32 assists. He was unbelievable. And Timmy, he was 18 years old.
And he definitely came in as advertised, but he continued as advertised and took it up a notch. Sophomore season, Joey Spallina had even more points. And he didn't just have even more points. 88 points as a sophomore. Ridiculous stuff from Joey Spallina. The one knock on him that season was that he didn't quite get that showing in the big games. In the NCAA tournament against Denver, he had 0 points. Now, that was something that he could grow into, though, over time, Ben.
And then you go to that junior season as well. You talk about him getting better. He was in the 60s in his freshman year. 88, he quadrupled his own number in his sophomore season.
Just ridiculous.
And then we head over to that junior campaign, and once again, Joey Spallina getting better and better. Second team All-American, joined the 200-point club as well for the Orange, and helped lead them to a Final Four bout. You mentioned him in the big games. He did so this time around. He won the ACC championship. He led his squad to a Final Four tournament run. 35 goals, 55 assists, man. I mean, this guy is unbelievable. He is so much fun to watch. And Timmy, I would argue he's even more fun to break down here at the wall right now.
Yeah, he's pretty fun right now. And first time since 2013 that the Orange went to championship weekend last season. Senior season, Joey. Can he get any better? Well, yeah, he's on pace right now to do just that. 55 points this season. That's the 2nd most in the entire country right now. Ridiculous stuff. For most points in the ACC for Spallina. I mean, his level just keeps getting better. He said after the Duke game, amazingly, after he scored 6 points, that he didn't even think he played that well. Well, the lacrosse world might be a little bit worried after hearing that. A lot of time left for Joey Spallina to take control for this team. Well, that's all we have in this time here. We got a whole lot more coverage of Syracuse against North Carolina, and we'll have our reporter down in UNC, Drew Albaugh, to talk with Nip after the break.
Hey everyone, welcome back inside our CitrusTV studios. We're still live here on Cuse Countdown. Nicholas Waley with you. Timmy and Ben, they'll join us back in a little bit, but I'm lucky now to be joined from Chapel Hill, North Carolina, Mr. Drew Albaugh, sir. Hello, how are you? Thank you so much. I hope you're enjoying the weather down there. We've been talking about Syracuse and how good they've been playing and how well their march has been. I mean, how key has that last month of success, 6 wins in a row, been for Syracuse?
You said it, Nick. 6 wins in a row for Syracuse, and it's really been the offensive firepower that's gotten them. You've talked a lot about Joey Spallina, Michael Leo, but Peyton Anderson's been excellent. He has a goal in 4 straight games. This is a Syracuse team that in the past month has scored double-digit goals in every single game. That's really been the difference. The other teams have put it past Jimmy McCool, to be quite frank, but the offense has not just kept Syracuse in it, it's gotten Syracuse up to the top, taken down their opponents, and that's really been the difference. I mean, you just have to ask me. I'm standing here. There used to be warm-ups while I was waiting to talk to you, Nick. The balls were practically hitting me in the neck because of how hard they were going off of the wall. That's how much the Syracuse team's offensive firepower has been. As everyone keeps coming on the field right now, these are the guys that should get it done offensively for North Carolina.
And you talked about Joey Spallina there. Of course, he's at the heart of that. And if he has a trademark game today of 6 points, he could at least tie Mikey Powell's program record. And you were at Media Ops earlier this week. What did his head coach, Gary Gait, have to say about Spallina's impact, not just this season, but at Syracuse?
He said he's already done what he set out to accomplish. When Joey got here as a freshman, this program was in a completely different spot, and he said that Joey's responsibility was to get Syracuse to the top of the lacrosse world, and Joey Spallina has already done that. Now, with that being said, there still is a big milestone looming over the head of the Syracuse Orange, and of course, it's that national championship. There's that one more big milestone for Joey Spallina to complete, and the total points record, we'll have to see if he does it today. My guess is no. It's next week against Virginia. He could get 7, though. Joey Spallina has done it before. But his one thing other than the points record is, of course, bringing Syracuse to a national championship. That's what head coach Gary Gait said.
And I want to focus for this last question for you on today. That face-off battle is going to be very important between John Mullen and Brady Wambach. Just how important is that battle? Because Wambach got the better of Mullen last year.
Wambach's gotten the better of every guy he's played practically since they last met against John Mullen last season. This is a guy who has a face-off win percentage above 70%. 70%, that doesn't even feel like a real statistic. He's first in the entire country. John Mullen, on the other hand, up and down season, to be quite frank, hanging right around that 50% win rate. He's going to have a tough test at the face-off X today. Head coach Gary Gait was talking about how they almost have to go into it with the mentality that Brady Wambach is going to get his. We got to figure out a different way to stymie this North Carolina team that is so good in so many different facets of lacrosse. This is going to be a tough one for Syracuse, but if John Mullen can surprise some people and outdo a Wambach at the face-off X, that could be the difference in this one. And if that happens, I think Syracuse should be the favorites here. Now, obviously, that would be a surprise, but this is going to be a good one, Nick. I mean, we got blue skies. This place is filling up. I'm excited to be here. My goodness, this is a top 3 tilt, and it feels like it.
Certainly an important one down in North Carolina. Drew, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you a little bit later on Orange Press Pass. But you can also follow Drew on Twitter and Instagram for the coverage of this one. Well, when we come back, we'll have Ben and Timmy back in studio. We'll get a chance to talk a little bit more about what Mullen and Wambach. Also, who will be number 1 at the end of today? We'll find out after the break. Welcome back to Cuse Countdown. Nicholas Waley with you. I know you've missed Ben Chadwick and Timmy Weiss, so let's bring them back. It's time for for our marquee matchup, and we talked about him a little bit with Drew. It's between Mullen and Wambach.
It sure is time, Nick, and this is a pretty ultimate matchup between Mullen and Wambach, two of the best face-off guys in the entire country. And while Wambach may lead him in percentage with over 70% this season, well, Mullen is my guy that I'm going to take in the matchup, and that's because he's had a lot of great plays this season. So let's take a look at some of the big face-offs he's won. If you see this one against Duke, this was where Mullen was excellent. He won 4 out of 5 face-offs in the fourth quarter, and that's something he's done well all season long. Against Maryland, also won 2 of 3 face-offs in the fourth quarter, which was so huge for this team. And the last face-off against Duke, this should have won the game for Syracuse. He did everything he possibly could do in that fourth quarter, and that's what separated Mullen this year. He hasn't even lost the face-off battle in the last 5 games this season. He's coming to play at the right time, and he's getting hot, and I know he can compete with the best of the best in Wambach.
The best, exactly. You want to make my argument for me? The best of the best is Brady Wambach. He leads, Drew mentioned it before, 72% face-off win rate, by far the #1 mark in the entire country. He's gotten better season after season. Freshman year was just barely above 60%. Wow, how awful of a number for him, right? Last year, his sophomore season, 68%. Now he's at 72%. He has been so dominant in every facet. I want to take a look at a couple of plays here from Wambach as well. How about going against Luca Accardo from High Point, a top 10 face-off man in the country so far statistically this season, gets the easy win. How about the clamp and the pinch and roll back to himself? That is his specialty. He has really hammered that home all season long. And you get another face-off win in this next game as well against Johns Hopkins. Actually, this one, he's going to lose, cause the turnover, scoop it up. What else is he going to do, right? He's a face-off guy. He's going to pass it off. Timmy, you'd be incorrect. Driving all the way down to the crease, getting the step-through shot to go. Another one against Army, a great face-off guy over there, gets that win as well. Brady Wambach can do it all. He knows the referees. He knows their cadences. He knows what he needs to do. That clamp, pinch, and roll is fantastic, and he has been so good, Nick.
He absolutely has, and you know, these are 2 top 10 offenses in the country. UNC ranked at number 4 going into today, and Wambach is actually a big reason for that. But Ben, you got to as well look at the fact that these are 2 of the best offenses in the country, and it's going to be a really interesting matchup today.
Yeah, this North Carolina attack has been their calling card. I mean, mainly because they get the ball so often, because Brady Wambach is so good. But I won't go back there again. I want to talk about this attack. Let's look at a couple plays that they've put up as well. Owen Duffy has been incredible. Top 4 in points on the season for Syracuse. For North Carolina. Syracuse wishes they had Owen Duffy, Timmy. I know you wish that Syracuse had Owen Duffy on their team. And you go to Dominic Petramala. He's averaging nearly a hat trick a game so far. That's top 20 in the country. How about Brevin Wilson, the sophomore? That guy would be a top attackman on 95% of lacrosse teams across the country, but now he's the 3rd or 4th guy on what is an incredibly deep team for North Carolina. 15 goals per game, that is the most in the nation. Timmy, they have been, the 4th most in the nation. They have been unbelievable so far this year. The attack has always been the calling card for North Carolina. It's no different this year.
The UNC attack has been great all season. And
correct.
Okay, maybe Syracuse wishes they had Owen Duffy. They don't need Owen Duffy on their team because they got plenty of other guys, headlined by Joey Spallina, who's been the stud all season, 2nd most points in the nation. But that's many other guys behind him in Thompson and Leo, in Peyton Anderson and Roa, who have woken up. The Orange offense had its struggles early in the season, but that's not been the case lately. The Orange have scored 16 goals per game in their last 4 games. They're waking up at the right time. You see it 13.45 goals per game, 10th in the nation, but recently it's been much better than that. The offense is waking up, it's getting creative, all the guys are clicking at the right time, and this Syracuse offense is scary.
And they certainly are, and you know what? It's number 2 against number 3. The winner of this game very much could be number 1 by this time next week. Timmy, who do you think could be number 1 by the end of today?
Well, you could make the case for either team because these 2 teams are number 2 and number 3 for a reason. But Syracuse has the schedule. They've played every single game a team that has been at least in the top 20, and they only have 2 losses this season. Now, the thing you got to remember, those 2 losses were back in February. That's a long time ago. Now Syracuse has won 6 in a row and is starting to bring it. Now you'll see as you get into ACC play to really make sure that you establish that number 1 ranking, But hey, Richmond is down right now. They're the #1 team in the country. If Syracuse wins today, they're going to be the #1 team in the country.
I mean, I could repeat your words right now, Timmy. If North Carolina wins today, they will be the #1 team in the country. And you mentioned how Syracuse, it's been a while since they've lost. It's been over a month since North Carolina had their singular loss. Syracuse has 2 losses, North Carolina with just 1 on the season. But not only have they beaten some great teams so far, right? You talk about teams, and their final 3 games are pretty solid, but they just dominated #3 Harvard, formerly #3 Harvard, 17-7. Syracuse lost to Harvard, Timmy. I don't know if you remember that. I don't know if you remember.
February, though. Back in February, long time ago. It was outside, rainy day.
Well, how about last week when North Carolina absolutely annihilated them? Syracuse has beaten some good teams, don't get me wrong, but they have done so in very narrow margins. North Carolina has dominated those teams. You mentioned that Richmond-Virginia game and Richmond-Notre Dame as well. We want to get to that in just a little bit after this short break.
I know.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Face-off in North Carolina is just about 3 minutes away. Nicholas Waley, Ben Chadwick, and Timmy Weiss with you here live on CC. We're getting ready to go, guys, but let's take a look at what's going on around the nation as well, because women's lacrosse as well is in action in North Carolina. They're taking on Duke today, #18 team in the country. This is a women's lacrosse team that has been excellent, have won 10 games in a row. Guys, I think Reggie Thorpe has this team rolling.
And in those 10 straight wins, Nick, #4 Northwestern and #7 Yale were just a couple of the teams that they took down. Now, this Duke game, though, is pretty huge. The Duke offense and draw control are both top 10 in the country. Those are 2 stats and 2 areas that Syracuse has really struggled in this year, Timmy.
And Duke has had some big wins this season. They blew out BC earlier in the year, and Syracuse has always had a tough time against BC. That's a great team. Syracuse has got to make sure to get a big-time win down in Durham today.
And we should take a look at what's going on around the country as well, because we talked about who would be #1 at the end of our last segment. Look at that. #4 Notre Dame up 9-5 against Richmond. The Spiders have come back a little bit because it was 8-2.
Correct. Yeah, it was 8-2 at the end of the first quarter. So, yeah, the Spiders are inching their way back, but still Notre Dame, this is a statement win for them. Would be their biggest on the entire season. How about Lars Tiffany as well, Timmy? Beating up on Duke right now in that 4th quarter, up by 2.
That Virginia team is really hot right now. Just beat Notre Dame last week. And Duke, you know, there were questions if they had played a great schedule. Well, who knows? Maybe they're not as good as we actually thought.
And so they will be interesting because today this game is so important. Top 3 matchup. Ben, what is your key for Syracuse against UNC?
The key for Syracuse is don't let them get to 13. Now, I'll explain what I mean by that. North Carolina has not scored between 13 and 16 goals all year long. Their offense is either firing on all cylinders, dropping 23 on Iona and 20 on some other teams, 17 some games as well, or they're pretty cold, dropping 11 goals, 12 goals, 10 goals, even less sometimes. So if Syracuse can force North Carolina to have that cold game, then they could have a chance in this game, Timmy.
Well, Ben, we've been talking about this battle a lot, the face-off battle. That's the key for Syracuse to win this game. Syracuse has lost 2 games this season. They lost the face-off battle against Princeton. They lost the face-off battle against Penn, and that was easily a game they could have lost. Against Harvard, though, they only won the face-off battle by 1. Yep. When Syracuse does well, they win the face-off battle. That's huge for this team.
All right, Ben, we have about a minute until the first face-off. What is your prediction for this one?
Yeah, I got North Carolina taking this one, 12-11. I think the Tar Heels are going to take it. Look, the face-off battle is just going to prove too much for John Mullen. Brady Wambach is on another level from every other player in the country. Mullen shouldn't take personal offense. He's just not the #1 guy in the entire nation. Wambach will prove too much. So will the offense for Syracuse. It'll be close, but 12-11, the Tar Heels take it.
I got Syracuse taking this one, 13-12. And that's because the Orange have been so hot recently. The offense is really clicking, and that's the key for this team to really be great. They get it done in Chapel Hill.
One of these win streaks has to end. I've got UNC winning it 13-12, guys. This should be a really fascinating one. This could be a precursor to either the national championship, probably the ACC championship as well. Should be a fascinating game. But we're going to be around here on Orange Press Pass later on today. Make sure to tune in at 5 o'clock. But for Ben Chadwick, Timmy Weiss, and our producer, Landon Stilz, I'm Nicholas Waley. Enjoy the game, everyone. Should be a fun one.